Hi, John. Here is your today's lunch.
Thanks, Emily. I'm a lucky guy. I married a beautiful wife who's perfect at managing the household. My name is John. I work as a clerk at the city hall. I recently got married to my wife, Emily, and we're still in the honeymoon phase. Emily is a well-known beauty at the city hall. People even come to visit just to see her, even if they have no business there. Honestly, I thought dealing with all the attention would be a hassle, but Emily never showed any annoyance to anyone. Maybe it's her gentle personality that drew me to her. At our wedding, my colleagues were jealous when they saw Emily. Even after getting married, Emily's cooking is amazing, and her lovingly prepared lunches are perfect, both in appearance and nutrition.
Hey, John, did you know? It seems like we're called the perfect couple in the neighborhood.
Seeing Emily laugh like that makes my smile even brighter. I'm truly happy. I can savor this happiness for the rest of my life. Marriage is wonderful. That's what I always want to shout. It's been almost a year since we got married. Emily and I have a great relationship. But we still don't have any children. I wanted them, but Emily hesitates, saying,
I don't have the courage to have children yet.
That's right. Pregnancy, childbirth, and everything that comes with it can be a burden on women. As a man, I won't force it. With that in mind, I told Emily, you don't have to push yourself at all. There were times when work kept me busy, and I wanted to spend more time with Emily. Since we hadn't been able to go on a proper trip since we got married, I was determined to make time and take her somewhere special. However, Emily said,
You don't have to go out of your way for me. Let's go when we have the time. Besides, I'm just happy living with you.
She said with a smile. She's truly a kind wife. Even though she's a housewife, she always wears makeup and has a pleasant fragrance of perfume, just like when we were dating. So, with the desire to make her happy even a little, I had prepared a surprise overseas trip for her for our first wedding anniversary. I was excited, imagining Emily's delighted expression. Then, one day, I had to work late due to overtime. I got home exhausted. However, Emily wasn't there. Huh? Where's Emily? The atmosphere in the house felt strange. It seemed oddly spacious. Upon closer inspection, some furniture and items were missing. After a while, I realized that all of it was my wife's personal belongings. A sense of foreboding washed over me, and I looked at the table. There were two pieces of paper there. One was a letter, and the other, a divorce paper. I looked at the letter with trembling hands. It was written simply,
I've fallen in love with someone else, so I want to end our marriage.
I don't know what's going on. I can't recall having had any recent arguments with Emily, so I was confused. I hurriedly tried to contact Emily, but she remained unresponsive as if it were a matter of course. She didn't even answer the phone. I didn't know what to do. The day after my wife left, I mustered up the energy to go to work. I looked like I was about to die from exhaustion since the morning. My colleague, Michael, who is the same age as me, expressed concern and approached me. During our break, I talked to Michael about Emily.
Emily. I can't believe it.
He said. Michael had transferred to our office almost immediately after Emily retired, so he had only been there for about 2 weeks. However, he already knew Emily because of her reputation.
I can't imagine it, but could she be cheating?
Michael suggested, and I felt a sudden chill run down my spine. I felt even more disheartened. If it were indeed an affair, Michael advised me to consider divorce and alimony. But I didn't want to believe that Emily would cheat. It was unbelievable. Emily, who had talked to me every day with a smile, of all people. As I contemplated that, I couldn't bring myself to accept that our once happy marriage was falling apart.
I don't want to divorce Emily,
I muttered, feeling pathetic, and tears welled up. Michael thought for a moment and then said,
Well, for now, let's go for a drink today. I'll listen to your complaints.
He invited me to a bar near our workplace. I drank heavily at the all-you-can-drink bar near the office. Michael and I got along well. We even visited each other's homes, and I had some interaction with Michael's family. In particular, Michael's younger sister, Olivia, often joined us for drinks, and I was impressed by how close they were as siblings. Today, Olivia also came, and the three of us were supposed to enjoy our time together. Normally, we would have a good time drinking, but I wasn't in the mood today. Michael told me to stop sulking, and I buried my face in the table, feeling dejected.
Emily.
Desiring her, I muttered to myself like a mantra.
John, are you okay?
I heard Olivia's concerned voice, but I was too drunk to reply properly.
Olivia, you have work early tomorrow, right? I'll stay with him today, so you can go home.
Michael told his sister. Reluctantly, Olivia left the table, casting a wary look at me.
John, you shouldn't drink too much.
Olivia said, patting my shoulder before leaving the restaurant. Michael let out a sigh and said,
John, I understand that you're down, but you should investigate this. It's strange for someone to fall in love with someone else so suddenly, especially when Emily wasn't even working. Where did she meet this person?
I have no idea.
Anyway, drowning your sorrows in alcohol won't help. I have a friend who's a private detective. I'll ask him to look into it for you.
I raised my swollen face from the table.
Why would you go so far for me?
We're good friends, aren't we? Besides, our workplace doesn't have many guys as it is. If you end up going crazy and quitting, I won't have anyone to have a drink with after work.
Michael said with a smile. After that, my memories are hazy. The next thing I knew, I was asleep at home. Afterward, my health deteriorated. Whether it was from the shock I couldn't recover from or the large amount of alcohol I had consumed, I developed a high fever and was tormented by nightmares. I received a phone call from Michael. He reassured me, saying,
I'll cover the gap, so rest assured and take a break.
I took advantage of his words to rest my body thoroughly on the bed, but all I could think about was Emily. It was incredibly painful. A few days later, I received a message from Michael asking me to come to his place. He said he wanted to talk about the results. At first, I couldn't recall what he meant by that, but then he said, it's about the detective's investigation, and it all came back to me.
Oh, so you really did hire a detective?
I said.
Yeah, that's why I want you to come.
Michael replied. His voice sounded lower than usual, which made me feel uneasy. I entered Michael's apartment with heavy footsteps. Inside, I found the detective he had hired for the investigation. It turned out that the detective was a junior from middle school, someone Michael knew.
As for the investigation results,
the detective said slowly as he handed me some photos.
I'll get straight to the point. Your wife was involved with a man even before you got married.
I widened my eyes in shock.
Before we got married? Are you saying that Emily was seeing someone else while we were dating?
The revelation was so shocking that I began to tremble all over, entering a mild state of panic. However, in the photos handed to me by the detective, I saw Emily, happily linking arms with a tall, unfamiliar man. I felt lost in a situation I couldn't control.
Take it easy, John.
Michael said, supporting my trembling body. But I couldn't calm down. Michael asked the detective.
Could you please explain?
The detective nodded slowly in response. According to him, Emily and this man had been dating since their school days. Moreover, the man aspired to become an actor and had been gradually gaining recognition on YouTube. Thanks to that, he even landed a significant role as the boss in a minor action film. In other words, Emily, who was secretly dating this up-and-coming actor, had been deceiving me all along. The detective had more astonishing revelations to share. Despite being a housewife, Emily had been engaged in sugar daddy activities during the day. This left me puzzled about her housekeeping duties, but it turned out she couldn't do any of them and had hired someone to take care of the household chores. Michael asked,
Are you okay, John?
I'm fine, I'm fine. Detectives are amazing, to uncover everything in just a few days.
I forced a smile, but it was empty.
Detective.
I asked.
What could it be?
Why did Emily marry someone like me?
If she liked that actor, why did she marry me? That was my biggest question. The detective said.
I can only make educated guesses about her motives. Would you like me to share my thoughts?
I nodded and lowered my head in agreement. That's when I learned about Emily's other side. The detective speculated that because she engaged in such activities, she was likely a very playful person who enjoyed having multiple partners. She might have wanted a convenient husband who could provide for her basic needs while she continued her lifestyle. And when the actor seemed poised for success, she quickly switched from me to him. Like a parasite. I felt the collapse of the person named Emily within me. And I was mad at my own incompetence for not noticing even though we had been together for so long. Come to think of it, Emily had gently refused to have children, and she didn't seem interested in traveling with me. Her always being made up and the possibility of her meeting other men or even engaging in sugar dating all added up. What is this? I loved Emily so much. Michael stood up suddenly.
She's a real wicked woman. I won't forgive her. Hey, you should sue her.
Michael suggested to me in anger. The detective also said that after investigating infidelity, the next step is often legal action and offered to consult with a lawyer he knows.
Let's get alimony and ruin that woman. Right, John.
Michael patted my shoulder that way. But I apologized.
Give me a little time to think.
In the end, we disbanded there, and I went home. Afterward, I kept recalling memories with Emily and continued to cry alone on my bed. The next day was Sunday, so I could relax at home, but I have to go to work tomorrow. However, at this point, I didn't even want to go to work, let alone live. Looking at the overseas trip tickets that were supposed to be a surprise, I felt even sadder.
Emily.
As I muttered with lingering affection, the phone rang. I looked at the screen, and it was Michael. When I answered the phone, Michael greeted me with a cheerful smile. I chuckled and jokingly said,
I just want to die.
No way you die for a woman like her.
I know that in my head, but
I had no choice but to say it miserably.
For Emily to choose an actor over you, who cares about you this much, she must be an idiot.
Michael sighed as if there was nothing more to say. It was as if Michael was smiling wryly, with that feeling of helplessness in his expression. Those words triggered something within me. I poured out my feelings to Michael about Emily. I was genuinely angry about being cheated on. It made my blood boil. But I was happy to marry Emily. I could work hard because Emily was there. The food Emily made was delicious. I wanted children with Emily. I had wanted her to be with me all along. As I shouted my feelings through tears, Michael listened silently. After I had poured out my thoughts, Michael said to me,
"You're really kind."
Kind? I'm just stupid.
Despite my self-deprecation, Michael said,
"That's not true. Do you remember when I was first assigned to the department where I'm working now, and you stayed up late with me, training me, even though I didn't know anything?"
I do, but...
You know, I couldn't say it back then, but I was really grateful. Do you know why I transferred from my previous department?
Then, Michael confessed that he had struggled with interpersonal relationships, including being bullied by his superiors in his previous department. I couldn't have imagined that the cheerful Michael had gone through such things in his previous department.
That's why I was really scared when I was transferred. I was afraid of getting yelled at again. But the people here were all kind, and because I met you, I managed to make it this far.
Michael said this with a somewhat embarrassed smile.
So when I heard that you were getting married, I was happy. I wanted to support you. That's why I can't forgive Emily, who hurt you, the kind person. So,
Michael continued,
rather than letting you continue to suffer and break down, let's make Emily take responsibility. You have that right. I'll help too.
It was only after he said that I finally found the courage to break my attachment to Emily.
Thank you, Michael.
I liked Emily, but I'll settle the score with her. After that, I decided to take alimony and proceed with the divorce. Of course, I sued for alimony from her lover as well. Once I made up my mind, I strangely found that my feelings for Emily completely disappeared, and I became increasingly mad, determined to pursue the case thoroughly. So, I also contacted the entertainment agency. The agency suspended Emily's lover indefinitely, saying that it would damage their image. Naturally, he lost major roles. On YouTube, without posting any apology videos, his account suddenly disappeared one day. I thought, that serves her right, and at that moment, I received a message from someone. Yes, it was Emily. Hearing her voice after a long time was surprising. She was nothing like the demure image she had presented to me. Instead, she unleashed a storm of slander against me. However, I responded firmly. I told her that if she had any further complaints, we could go to court. Emily hung up the phone with a frustrated look. It's finally over. I was able to completely resolve my feelings and thanked my friends who had supported me. Several months later, I was drinking with Michael and his sister Olivia at the same restaurant as that day. Somehow, I think that these three are the most enjoyable company these days. I suddenly took out a pair of tickets for an overseas trip from my bag.
These were originally meant for my ex-wife, but I'll give them to you guys as a token of my gratitude.
I handed a pair of tickets to Michael as a gesture of gratitude.
Hey, isn't this the kind of place you go with your lover?
Michael said, looking troubled.
Can we really get this?
Olivia asked in surprise.
Oh, you can take them. Go have a great time together as siblings. Then, Michael said,
I'm sorry, but I can't get it.
And handed one of the tickets back to me. And the other one, he placed it in Olivia's palm.
You guys should go together.
We both stood up in surprise and said, huh.
Huh. Well, you see. But Olivia, you might feel uncomfortable with me.
I glanced over at Olivia, who seemed flustered.
Well, if John doesn't mind, I'd like to go.
She said with a bright red face. I, too, felt my heart racing. Uh-oh, my heart is pounding. At that moment, I didn't yet realize that a new love was beginning to bud within me.